Welcome, everyone, to our webinar MindsDB in Practice. This is our monthly live demo and QA. I am your host, Chandre, and marketing coordinator of MindsDB. Joining me today, as well as Alejandro, who is the senior product manager. And you should know Martina by now. She is the technical product manager at MindsDB. And today they will be presenting awesome stuff for you guys. So for the month of May, our team has been very busy with major upgrades, and we are super excited to show you guys what we have done. But in today's call, we just want to showcase the highlights of the work that our team has put in for the month of May. So today, Brian is going to showcase our improved startup time to MindsDB. Martina is going to showcase the setup with MCP, with Anthropic and OpenAI. And then lastly, Alejandro is going to showcase our launch of our open source chat AI interface, which is amazing. And I'm so excited for you guys to actually see it and also try it out because it is amazing. It's a game changer. So without further ado, I'm going to give over to Brian.
Great, terrific. Good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. And just do a quick check that everybody can see my slides. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Cool, perfect. Great. So part of the work that we've been doing most recently is, as you see here, increasing or rather decreasing the time to start up the MindsDB processes and reducing the package size. Kind of the case that we had trying to attack here with the system is MindsDB has quite a bit of capability, and as you guys know, there's a lot of integrations and handlers that we work with to allow you to have this federated search capability among other capabilities in MindsDB. But we wanted to be able to add efficiencies to the system for the purpose of some of our special customers. In particular, some of our customers, they're deploying Minds as part of their product across a network of nodes or several nodes deployed in the wild. Sometimes this deployment can occur on customer infrastructure that they don't allocate themselves. They're deploying on servers or nodes that are within a domain that their customers have. And the servers or the allocation of the hardware can be across a spectrum of capabilities. Sometimes these are not highly provisioned, great deal of RAM or CPU. So for these use cases, it's important that when we deploy Minds, that the footprint is minimized, resource allocation is minimized for obvious reasons, and that the startup times can be efficient and fast so that users, when they start these processes, they can get to utilizing the product. Now, for one of our particular customers, as you can see here in the second bullet, they had a particularly interesting case where there could be conditions under which their agents need to restart, start and stop instances of MindsDB as part of their workflow and deployment system. And so for that particular reason, startup times are particularly critical for them. And combine that also with the fact that, again, as I say, Minds is being deployed on other servers where there may not be a direct allocation or it's not dedicated infrastructure for running the system. There can be competing processes so that compete for resources on these nodes. So it was really important for us to be able to minimize our startup times, minimize our footprints to be as efficient as possible. So in doing this, we took a hard look. This is our methodology. We needed to perform some profiling and analysis of what was going on with the services to identify bottlenecks and situations in which time was being consumed, where our time consumption was. There's always, in computer science, of course, there's always a bottleneck somewhere. There's always, you identify one and then you go to the next one. And that's a lot of the work that we had done. So where we had looked is to understand we would perform operations and applications also during our startup time to see how where in the process that these greatest amount of time had been consumed, and then correlating actions with what's occurring on the server to identify items where we can make improvements in this profiling system, and also reporting and observability. Based on the analysis that we had performed through this period, we were able to identify a couple of areas where we can make improvements. And so we took that information and we applied it to these enhancements. Again, there's kind of two categories of elements that we organized our work into: reducing package size and then addressing startup performance. So in terms of package size, we've reduced it by having the core handlers for mainline database integrations packaged together when folks are downloading the system. The extended set of handlers that the community contributes to can be optionally installed with pip. So it's easy for folks to get a light footprint and then reconfigure their systems to have these extra handlers. In the case of this particular customer who deploys across multiple nodes and customer environments, they actually generate a wheel file from that they deploy as well. So they're able to customize their deployment as well so that they're right sizing their package. Heavy dependencies that we had in the system, libraries were analyzed, and these were made optional by default, as opposed to always downloading the entirety of everything that we're working on, that the dependencies that MindsDB has. And also looking into cleaning up of APIs that have been developed over time, doing a little bit of slim down here, and getting better efficiencies on some of our more mature products that have increased in feature scope over time, and making sure that what we're executing is very efficient. On the startup side, of course, lazy loading is a common system, common strategy for increasing our startup performance. That's exactly what we did. We also had been caching some values that were computationally expensive to execute, and this is in our parser generation variables, as you see here. Other items is we disabled garbage collection during import phases at the beginning of the process. Garbage collection is, of course, important for efficiency, but as anybody knows, garbage collection can also exact a toll on performance. And so we did some tuning here as well to get it optimized. And then, of course, a little bit more of that cleanup of addressing obsolete systems and predictors, and cleaning up old actions that were no longer necessary. So generally, our strategy, as you see, is to take a hard look at what's going on, where we can make performance improvements and footprint improvements, and then put them in. Now, one interesting thing about this too is that this is the first of an ongoing process of performance improvements that we want to add to the system. It's not a one and done, but it's a good step that we've taken forward to making everything execute more efficiently and more effectively. And then, not to bury the headline, but the performance improvements that we got is a 50% reduction in startup time. Of course, mileage may vary depending on the servers that you're running on. But in the cases of these highly constrained servers that some of our customers were running on, the startup times were dramatically reduced. They had along the lines of 30 seconds in some cases, where these servers also had to share resources with other competing processes on the system. So we're very proud of that. In other cases, our startup times are less than 10 seconds on our benchmark nodes. So that's a good one. We achieved a 31% reduction in our package size too as well, significantly reducing our package size to just around 1 gig of material that we're loading inside. Considering the broad capabilities of MindsDB, that's quite a significant efficiency in our package size as well. And then further improvements will be occurring as we go forward. Again, looking for efficiencies and performance improvements as well. So we're really happy with this capability, and stay tuned for more improvements. And I'll yield the floor.
Thank you so much, Brian. If anyone has any questions throughout our presentations, feel free to pop a message in our chat. We also do have a Q&A tab where you can post your questions and we will have a look at it. At the end of the presentations, we will have a Q&A and just have a chat about MindsDB and AI in general. Okay. Thank you so much, Brian. So now I'm going to give over to Martina, who will be showcasing our new docs. And we are super excited for you guys to see. Over to you, Martina.
Thank you, Chandra. I'd like to start by saying that recently at MindsDB, we've been working on our new value proposition. And right now, since recently, we are using the, as we call it, Connect, Unify, Respond framework, which has been extrapolated into our website documentation, as well as the graphical user interface, which we'll show you later on. Firstly, I'll show you the new documentation, as some things have been moved around in there to feed into this new framework. Let me just share my screen. So here we go. So it looks also a bit different. There was some refresh made into our docs, and overall, both our products are under one domain. So for MindsDB and for Minds, the documentation is available under docs.mindsdb.com. And as you can see, we have Connect, Unify, Respond tabs. So what it means, Connect is connect your data to MindsDB, which can come from databases, data warehouses, applications, etc. So under the Connect tab, we've got all our integrations. These include also AI/ML frameworks that we've been supporting, and also the syntax for connecting data, deploying models, and other frameworks. Next, in the Unify tab, it's about unifying your data, being able to unify data from multiple data sources and run federated queries across all these data sources that you've connected to MindsDB. So here we've got objects like knowledge bases, which can store both structured and unstructured data in the form of vector embeddings that ultimately improves the accuracy of results from agents, LLMs, etc. We've got also standard files, views, tables, and the functions for transforming data, also data automation objects like jobs, triggers. And lastly, the Respond tab, which means respond to questions over your data. So first you connect your data, then you unify, and then you can respond over this unified data. Here we've got agents. There is a new agent syntax that will be presented during the following demo with the new chat UI that's available with our open source MindsDB. And then we've got the MCP. So MindsDB is available as an MCP server that you can connect to other MCP clients and supply all this data that you've connected and unified within MindsDB. You can supply to other MCP clients. And what's cool about it recently, OpenAI Anthropic, they released their MCP connectors that enable you to connect any MCP server to OpenAI or Anthropic models. And this is what I'm going to present in the following demo. And we've got also coming up the A2A, which is agents to agents protocol, which our interface is already using. We are planning to also expose it. So that is something that will come soon. And yes, so that is it for our new documentation. If you have any questions, feel free to leave in the chat. And meanwhile, I will move to the next demo. One moment.
Thank you. Jean Sebastian said that it is really smart. The docs look really smart, which is amazing. Martina was part of the product team who revamped our entire docs, where you have both the open source and the Minds documentation. So this provides a more unified experience for you as a user, which is amazing. It's so convenient.
That was our goal. So happy to hear good feedback. But if there is any bad feedback, I would be also happy to hear that. Okay, moving on to the next demo. So you can, as you already may know, you can start MindsDB locally, either by installing it as a PyPy package via Python, or via Docker, or via Docker desktop. So either way you have your MindsDB running, the process should be similar. So here I have. So this is the demo of connecting MindsDB's MCP server to OpenAI and Anthropic. And first thing is to run MindsDB's MCP API. So you can do it for the Python local installation with defining the API MCP. Also, there is for specifically for Docker, there is a command to run the Docker image defining the MindsDB's APIs to be started. So here I start my local MindsDB with MCP, and the MCP API is started on port 47337. And now in order to connect it to OpenAI Anthropic, I need to expose a tunnel my local host using tools like ngrok or similar. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and now having this URL, I'm providing it as the server URL. So here we've got the syntax from OpenAI directly. This is the Python syntax. They have also in Curl and other technologies. So here I'm using Python to connect to MindsDB. I provide my API key. I can select the model. Here it's type MCP. I provide the server's URL with the /SSE at the end, because SSE is the method used for accessing our MCP server. Then I provide a bearer token. So here you can define the bearer token in the as an environment variable, which I have done beforehand. So you can, upon defining this environment variable, this essentially stores the access token for MCP server. So I define this access token, and then I have to set to not require approval. So all the calls to the tools will be executed right away. And then I can provide a question here. For example, what tools do you have available? And when I run this, this should give me a response. So there are 2 tools available with our MCP server. One of them is list databases, which lists all the connected data sources. Another one is query. And here maybe I'll zoom it in a bit. So the output is in this format, but you can see the response is right here. You can further refine it by taking some components of this text answer. So essentially, you can ask any question over the data that you have connected to MindsDB via this interface provided by OpenAI. And the same goes for Anthropic. Anthropic has released MCP connector, although it's in a beta stage at the moment. However, it's working well. So similar process here. You ask the question, you choose a model, then define the server. So let me put the new one, the authorization token, and you can run this. And that's how you can supply all the data from MindsDB into this framework provided by OpenAI Anthropic to use their models essentially to answer questions over your data. Yes, thank you. Any questions? Let me know. Back to you, Chandra.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you, Martina. As Martina mentioned, if you have any questions about that, please do pop question in the chat or in the Q&A section, and we will go over it after the last demo. Right now, we're going to move over to Alejandro, who will be presenting the open source chat UI. For the past couple of months after Minds Enterprise was launched, most of our open source users were also looking for an alternative in the open source where they can connect their data and query it in semantic language. Obviously, there is ways to do that with building agents, but today we are going to showcase you a brand new chat AI interface in the open source where you can also query your data. And that's what Alejandro is going to be presenting now. Over to you, Alejandro.
Thank, thank you, Chandra. It's a very hard opening to follow. That was really cool. Hey, hey everybody, I'm Alejandro Cantu, a product manager here at MindsDB. I'm gonna try to share my screen really quick. I only got a couple of slides, so I'm not gonna bore you to death with this part, but let me know if you can see it. All good. All right, so as Martina was saying, like we're really looking forward to really push out our framework or how we're thinking about AI in MindsDB. And this framework about connect, unify, and respond is what we believe is a foundation for any good AI system to be able to work here and like be able to get this with your data and being able to ask questions. So in the last few months, we've seen all the use cases that we're seeing that you guys have been bringing, either through the open source or others through the enterprise channels. But in the end, we kind of always end up into some sort of chatbot, right? And we really wanted to be able to see is like, how can we bring this functionality? How can we do the connect, unify, respond directly into the open source so we can start really asking these natural language questions? So this is where we are today. So I'm incredibly excited to announce the launch of our chat interface and this new experience to chat with your data. Where you're going to be like, as everybody starts like updating and getting the last version of MindsDB out, you're going to start noticing that you have now a new way to look at the open source. We added these three cool new looking tabs, right? Connect, where you're going to be able to add and connect your data sources. If you haven't done so, go in and click it. It's just an easy way to add them. The Unify, which is also the SQL editor, where like all the operations need to happen for you to start chatting with your data, creating a knowledge base, creating views, creating like all these different things. Like, how do I actually bring this connected data into the format that I want to be able to present it and make it ask questions? And lastly, we go into the response side of things, which is our new chat interface, what we do. Martina's going to go else and do the actual demo about this, right? But the way that I want everyone to think about this is, how do I apply this framework into my chat agent? And once you start building that, we are able to answer questions directly on your data. So first, you're going to connect your data source. Second, for the Unify, you're going to create an agent, and then this agent is going to allow you to either insert tables or knowledge bases. And then once you have this agent ready, then you can start looking into the chat interface. I'm really looking forward. Of course, this is in beta, right? So give us a break if some things are breaking, but we'd love to get your feedback Do you find something that didn't work? Like, are you finding inconsistency in the answers? All of that feedback is going to be really helpful for us to like improve it on the back and make sure that we provide a really cool and valuable experience. I hope everybody enjoys this and really can finally grasp the power of the Connect Unify framework that we have in MindsDB. And also, as you know, we also have the enterprise version of this. So if you really want to go deeper and like make sure that like, how do I make sure like that there's no errors? How to do that? MindCB is here to help. Feel free to reach out to us. There's an enterprise version of this. It's on mdb.ai. Anyways, I'm gonna stop chatting because I know you guys want to see the good stuff. Martina, take us home.
Okay, so let me share my screen again. And here we go. So as on Ali's slide, you've seen there is a connect, unify, and respond part to our GUI. So in the respond part, we have a chat which will redirect you to this SQL if you have not created any agent yet. So I start from here, and we've put together a tutorial on how to create an agent. You can use our sample data to try it out without connecting your data yet. And so we have this new syntax for creating agents, and we have support for a number of models. You can visit our docs under respond agents. We support models from Anthropic, Google, Olema, OpenAI, NVIDIA, and Writer. Upon uncollapsing, you can see the full list of models being supported. So depending on which model, which provider you use, you need to provide the API key. Then optionally, you can include knowledge bases. So if you created knowledge bases within MindsDB that you want to pass to an agent, that's the place to do that. There can be one or more knowledge bases. And the same goes for tables. If you have tables, you can provide them in this list. So here we are using our sample sales manager data. In the prompt template, it is recommended to describe your data, what it stores. Ideally, you can create a data catalog of some sort here, where you describe the tables, columns, or what kind of data is stored in the knowledge base to improve the experience with this agent. So I have already created an agent here with the sample data. We also provide some sample questions that you can ask. So now having this agent, I go back to the respond chat. And here you can see a list of all the agents that you created. Here I have just one, so it's just one. And you can select an agent with which you want to chat. You can start by asking hello, and it will come back with information of what data it has access to, etc. And now we can ask some sample question. So that's just a seamless way to chat with an agent, which in fact uses the A2A protocol to communicate. Oh, and we have also the thoughts tab. I didn't switch to that. So thoughts that previously you could observe the MindsDB console for the steps that the agent takes to arrive at an answer. Now we have the thoughts tab included in this respond chat interface, where you can observe what the agent is thinking, what steps the agent takes to arrive at an answer. So a good start is this doc page that describes the new syntax for creating agents, and also all the parameters with links to further integrations that we have and further actions that you can perform here. So that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina. Just to also add, as I've mentioned, this is something that our open source users have been looking for. And this is just to show that our team is listening and we do want to improve our product and make it more convenient for you as a user. Kudos to our team who has worked very hard to get this launched. Before we end off, we are just going to have a quick Q&A session. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask our team. They are the experts on our product, so they will be able to ask you. I do see that we have a couple of questions. I'm going to start with the two questions we have in our chat, and then I will go over to the ones we have in our Q&A tab. So the first question is from Gorga. Is the chat UI embeddable in another web app?
So I can answer this question. So Gorka, at this point, it's not embeddable in another app. It's only available for the open source and that type of the GUI. However, I do believe that maybe you could probably build this. It's like if you just use the open source, create an agent, and find a way to chat, that you could probably build your own um, embeddable web app in terms of the chat interface, like from that perspective, but not as you can see it there in the chat interface.
Perfect, thank you. His follow-up question is the chat UI multi-user? Can the users share same agents?
So I think this is a really good question, right? And kind of talks, I think the current configuration depends more on how you're using MindsDB, right? Like wherever you're having like set it up, how you're able to access it, like are you allowing multiple users or not? Like that, I think it's more on how you are using the open source and how you'll be able to like get to this perspective. Can the user share same agents? So once you create an agent, uh, and it's like also follows the same approach of how you're using MindTV, like that can be used on that perspective. One thing that we're working on is like Martina kind of mentioned this briefly, but we're gonna have something to bring to you more into the next monthly call. Is like now we're working really hard on the A2A A2A framework and how to be able to talk to different agents. So we do believe that we have this vision that, well, if I have an agent that's already connected to some sort of data and I have curated this agent, you should be able to talk to this agent somewhere else, even outside of MindDB via A2A. So that's kind of a bit of a sneak peek of what we're working on. But like this is something that we definitely have in mind, and we keep saying like, all right, how can we actually make MindDB open source a little bit more scalable by implementing all these new protocols, right? So we're really looking forward to have a full-on tech stack of A2A, MCP, and your federated query engine to unite your data and like make it incredibly accessible for everywhere. That's a bit of like where we're going, and we're probably going to see more in the community call, so I want to keep you on your toes, but like that's a bit of the main idea.
Perfect. We have two more questions, a couple of questions. Does MindDB have prompts and resource primitives integrated with the MCP server? That is in the chat, the last question.
I can speak to that. So we have the tools defined. We don't have specific prompts or other resources. This is something we can consider, but at the moment we have MCP tools that include the list databases and the query tool.
Perfect. Okay. Last question we will be taking. This is reference to the chat UI. Is it a mix of Airtable, MindDB Cloud, and the freedom of the studio? Will the AI help configure agents, database, structured table, hook handler? That is a one in the Q&A tab. The second last question, and then we will take another question from Mike. Martina, are you able to assist with that? Or Alejandro?
Yeah, well, I think it's from Jan Sebastian. Hey, that's a really complex question, and I'm not really sure I understand the full thing, right? But in the end, I think like what AI will do, like we don't really like help you configure the agent or the database structure from that perspective. It's more like you connect your database and you connect your structure, and then you create the agent, you put in the prompt template, and that's a bit of how you're actually going to help like get to that end result. Um, I would definitely love to follow up with this one, Jan, to understand where you're going, because like sounds like a really cool stuff there.
Awesome. Okay, and then we have Mike asking, I pulled the latest Docker image this morning, so I've not done much experimenting with it. But when I navigate to the Respond tab, I get an A2A server unavailable error. Does this mean that I have not set up my Docker container correctly, or is it just because I don't have any agents yet, since I have a fresh container again? It links to MCP documentation, which I've run those commands to run the MCP and HTTP APIs.
So, Mike, like, make sure you have the right version of MindsDB. We did a last quick fix last night, so you should have something like 25 point. Let me not lie to you and just give you the actual version so you can make
I
sure.
think it's
20.4.2,
25.5 4.2.
right? Correctly. That's the one that you're going to be looking for that one and be able to get that going. If not, it might be something like how you're starting. Um, MindsDB, like just make sure that you enable the ports for 7338, which is where we're communicating through A2A. And also when you set up the API, make sure that you include A2A on that perspective. I think those things should be on by default, but just like a couple of things to debug, maybe if you got there. If you still can't do it, feel free to send me a message on the community chat. Like I'm there in Alejandro Cantu, and I'm happy to like support you there.
Amazing, amazing. And then our last question we will be taking is from Gorka. I am new to MindsDB, so perhaps this question makes no sense. Don't worry, Gorka, we will try to understand it. I know I can't list databases with MCP server, but can I also list knowledge bases? Or maybe listing knowledge bases makes no sense at all.
I think listing knowledge bases make a ton of sense, right? Like in the end, the way we want to be able to think about this is like a knowledge base or a data. It's also a sort of data source. So definitely you can do that. Um, there's some quick turnarounds that we have tested internally that you can also try to do this. Like once you connect your MCP server to a knowledge base, you create the knowledge base first on MindDB, the MCP will be able to discover it, and then you can actually give a bit of prompt instructions on how to query the knowledge base on the prompt, and that like that'll get you some cool results there. But we're working on actually embedding this all together into a single structure that like then it will be easy for you to query knowledge bases through MCP. Also, a bit more on the coming soon type of thing for the next community call. So like, yeah, guys, like, yeah, thanks. But yeah, not a dumb question at all. I think like that's actually something we definitely want to do and look at it.
Amazing. Okay. Mike, if you have any issues, you can also feel free to just contact me. We are busy with the chat, so if you have any issues, feel free to send me a message as well. We have gone over time. We thought we might have a little bit more time to ask more questions, but that's okay. Thank you so much for everyone who joined. As previously mentioned, we just launched this chat UI, so it is fairly new. Please test it out. Please provide us your feedback. If you find a bug, if you run into any issues, post it on the community chat so that we can actually have a look at it and fix it. Your feedback is actually very valuable and it will help strengthen this feature. So thank you for everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. Have yourself a lovely weekend and hopefully we will see you next month in our next MindsDB in Practice webinar. Bye everyone.